Welcome to the first episode of our new discussion show, VoiceIt. Through this show, we will be aiming to raise awareness on different topics, challenges, and issues that young people are currently facing in life. We will also be looking at what types of help and support is available for you out there, should you be facing any similar experiences. My name is Lina, and I will be your host for today. Joining us today are three incredibly inspiring young women. Each of them have their own stories to share regarding the various different challenges and barriers they've faced throughout the progression of their education, careers, and just life in general. However, before we meet our guest panelists, I'd like to take a quick moment to say a very big thank you for taking the time out of their very busy schedules to meet us here today. And now, over to you.
Hello, so my name is Ifsana. I'm currently a mum of one and I will be starting my adult nursing course in January.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Nasimara and I'm almost done with my nursing degree.
Hi, my name's Waheeda. I have been qualified for 3 years in children's nursing.
It's really interesting as you're all working towards the same healthcare sector. Now, Waheeda, seeing as you're already a qualified nurse, would you mind elaborating a little bit more on your journey and what it's taken for you to get to the current point in your career that you are now?
Yeah, so I did GCSEs in sciences and maths, and then I did A-levels in maths, biology and chemistry. And then with those I got into my nursing degree, which is a children's nursing degree, and that's a Bachelor's of Science. And then from there I went as a newly qualified nurse into PICU, which is an intensive care unit. So I've been working there for 3 years now.
That's very, very impressive actually. It's look great on a resume, wouldn't it? Next we have Ifsana.
I actually didn't, when I was doing my education, I didn't realise what route and avenue I needed to go down because I didn't actually research what qualifications I needed to get into nursing. My goal was midwifery, but nursing, you can go into midwifery through that. So I did pass my GCSE, so I had my English, Maths and Science, and then I ended up doing completely different A-levels, and then I realised, it's not what I can get into. So then I took an extra year to do an access course, which gave me my qualification into
If you don't mind me interrupting, how do access courses work?
So basically a course designed to basically do exams and coursework. So let's say I'm doing a mixture of different modules, so science, I'm doing psychology, I'm doing my English, and it also gives elder people an opportunity to redo their GCSEs if needed, but you also have the chance not to do it if you've already, like me, had them. Once you do pass, which is really amazing, you get a straight direct entry into university if you pass your interview. I didn't pass my interview, so it took me a few more years to find the experience, figure out what I did wrong in my interview for me to get in. But yeah, access course really did help me gain the skills I need.
I've actually never heard of access courses very much before, so that was really interesting to hear about. Thank you for sharing that. And I think that leaves us with one more.
From school, I went to college and I did Health and Social Care BTEC extended diploma, and I think that helped me know that I wanted to do nursing. So originally I started wanting to do children's nursing because I'm more interested in that. But then I didn't get in, so it knocked me down a bit, and I was like, forget it, I'll do a year out. So then my sister encouraged me. She's like, no, you can do nursing, you can do adult nursing, and you can go into children's afterwards. So I was like, I don't want to do it anymore. So she really encouraged me. She helped me apply through clearing, and through clearing I got into adult nursing, and I'm almost done with my course now, and yeah.
Everyone's had different starting points and experiences throughout their journey so far. But what I'm personally interested in is any challenges and struggles that you've had to face throughout this experience. Or to be more precise, what would you say was the first real challenge that you've experienced so far?
So I think my biggest challenge was that I struggled a lot in my English, so writing and stuff like that. So in university you have to write dissertations to be qualified, and I struggled a lot with that. I nearly gave up because I was so stressed out with writing my dissertation. But it was also with nursing, it's when you're doing your degree, you're on placement, you're doing full-time hours, but it gave me that confidence now that I'm qualified with that experience. It's just it's all about making those relationships with the people that you work with and you study with. And I think those were really important in terms of me coping with different stresses.
I think even at the moment I'm currently studying at uni, and I have a very similar issue in that when it comes to trying to write assignments, I tend to struggle actually writing from an academic perspective, because I enjoy, as a side hobby, I like writing creatively. So what I tend to do is I'll be preparing to write my assignments, and then I suddenly start doing it very creatively, and it's not as academic as it needs to be. And whenever I had those type of experiences, I'd fall back on my mother, for example, and say, look, I need some help with this, kind of get her to signpost me in the right direction. So for me as well, it's definitely been relationships that you have with people that help you to kind of persevere forward, I think, a little bit more. Would either of you two say you had any similar experiences?
I had a similar experience with, whilst in my education, I was completely bad at exams. Like, any exams I would fail. Like, I think the pressure got to me, like, sitting there, being timed.
So daunting.
So I felt like, oh my God, I'll never get to where I want to get to because I can't pass an exam, I can't pass a test. So then I think, like, you know, when you research and you look into different options, like people go into BTECs when they can't pass exams, I think that's really helpful. Then by doing like constant coursework, it really helps you in uni because you get a narrative and you know how to like produce information and how to like portray it really based on like compared to exams. I feel like I haven't done an exam in so long because I've only done coursework based. One of my fears when I start my course is I'm going to do maths exam. Like, how am I going to do? I haven't done maths in like the last 5 years. Like, I'm going to do like exams like what I'm based on the course I'm learning, and I think to myself, thank God I have like a sister that's done the course and I could learn a lot of what she's learned. Not take but learn. But it's hard because you think, oh my gosh, I don't want to go to someone and they think, but you can't pass a test.
You know, at the end of the day, you need that support, don't you?
Yeah,
I think we all do.
I think it's really good that people reach out to one another and find like people to talk to and look at different things and know, oh, you're not judged because you can't pass a test, or because you feel like you couldn't go through your English.
I think it's even more important for people to be able to say these type of struggles out loud, because sometimes you don't know how many people are going through the same type of thing. So they might think, oh, I'm a failure because I can't write this essay, or I can't take an exam in a room, so clearly that means there's no scope for me when it comes to my academic careers. And there are so many other people who are having those same type of struggles. And I think, having a platform like this and being able to sit down and say, hey, I'm struggling with this, or, well, this is something that I have the difficulty in, really helps other people maybe grow a bit more confidence into opening up a little bit more. Because sometimes, if you keep everything bottled up and you don't share your struggles, you won't have the chance of finding some sort of help. For example, had you have not opened up about your struggles, you wouldn't have been able to reach out to your sister. If I couldn't open up about how I keep writing creatively instead of academically, I couldn't open up to my mother, and you couldn't get that type of support that you needed. So I do think it's really important for everyone to put more of a focus on feeling a bit more confident to share their struggles and their experiences. Now, Nasimara, is there anything that you have that you'd like to share?
I feel like one of my struggles was reaching up to the standards of my older siblings. So because they've done so well in their GCSEs and their college years and their university, just trying to reach up to that standard to see if I could do that. And obviously your parents want that too. So getting to that standard was really hard for me. So I was like, I don't know if I can do that. So I think university helped with that, with assignments and exams and trying to get me to that level. So I feel like getting that support from them was helpful to us alone, because obviously my siblings did completely different courses as well. So
yeah, my sister, one did chemistry degree and then the other one did architecture.
Yeah.
And so it was like very sort of, nursing was completely different.
Same.
And again with GCSEs it was like that pressure of trying to be the best. Like, I was crying before every exam.
Yeah.
Literally crying to my sister saying I can't do it, and she'll go through every single sort of resource that was available. But again, it's sort of trying to live up to that standard, but knowing that you are an individual as well.
Yeah, because my sister did A levels and then she did geology. She's like an A star student.
Yeah.
Top marks.
So whereas like we're like the B, C, so you're like, oh my god, I have to get up to her standard, and it's
strive
so
towards that,
the pressure's there and it's hard, and you're like, they want you to be, your parents want you to be exactly like their eldest daughter, and it's like, oh my god, I don't think I can do that. But then obviously when you did GCSE, then you go to college, I think they realised, oh, that's just as good. So then when we got to uni, we were like, okay, I think we're okay in getting just a good enough mark that you can get yourself. And having another older sister be getting C's and B's, I think that lowered the standard a bit for us, because the pressure's there.
But it allowed for your parents to understand, you know what, not every child is the same. Like,
but also I feel like me being a twin, it helped because we were in the same boat together, so we were like, you get a lower mark, I'll get a lower mark. Not really, we got good grades, but it's really hard having this older sibling, so I feel like me having a twin, it really helped having, like, you know, we had each other.
Lina, I know that you was homeschooled. How did that affect your studies?
At the moment, I'm currently studying a degree in early childhood via Open University, and I think the whole home education process has definitely helped me a lot more in that just through that learning environment, I think I've been able to thrive to the best of my abilities, and a result of that was being able to do things a year early, such as my GCSEs, A levels, and getting into uni. So I definitely think when it comes to home education...
Sorry to cut you off, but did you feel like when you were undertaking, let's say, your GCSEs, did you feel like you were, because you're home educated, you felt like you were slightly held back, or do you feel like you knew a lot more than the people you're taking the exams with, let's say?
I think it's interesting, actually. I never really felt held back at all, and I've got this question a lot. You know, a lot of the time people will say, oh, do you feel like you're missing out on anything being home educated, or do you feel like there's anything you're lacking? But since home education is all I've ever known, you know, I've never been unschooled, I've always been home educated. So to me, this is the learning environment that I'm used to and that I think I thrive best in. So when it comes to things like exams, of course, in being home educated, the way we have to sit them is we have to go to an exam centre and then sit them. So it's the same type of setting, it's just you're not doing it inside a big school hall. So when it comes to the actual exam itself, I think everything for me was very normal, and I didn't feel like I was ahead or behind of anything. It just felt like it was the natural, expected process, really.
You must have been really nervous when you were taking your first ever exam.
I was actually very nervous because it's the first time I've had that type of a classroom feeling. But, you know, once I got through the first, it was kind of that wasn't so bad moment. And then you dread the second, and then once you're in the hall, it's a little bit different. And then I think over time, just like it must be with, you know, your own experiences when you were having your exams, how did that feel for you? Did you have the same type of...
well, in school we had like mock exams and this and that, so they prepped us from before, so we knew what we had to do and what the rules were and how you take an exam. So obviously they do it in classrooms and the exam room as well, so we've always known how to take an exam.
But like I said before, I was really bad at exams, so I always put myself down after an exam. I was like, oh, I'm going to come back with a U or a D or a C. It's not good enough. But I think once I realised, like, okay, my method of learning and achieving is written and theoretical work and practicals, that's when I started looking into courses that would help me and benefit my strengths rather than my weaknesses, and put myself down in a way. But yeah, that helped.
You know, something else I've been meaning to ask is, you've all shared a few of your struggles when it comes to your journeys towards your career paths. Something I did want to ask was, what is it about nursing and the healthcare sector that kind of gave you that motivation to just keep going, you know? Because when you're going through so many different challenges, it must, as you've all said, sometimes you get that moment where you think, oh, okay, I can't do this. But what about the career path kind of gave you that final push to just say, you know what, I'm sticking to this is what I want to pursue?
So I think with me, I didn't know that I wanted to do nursing until like the second year of A level, like your final year of A level, because I did like topics that gave me a wide range of opportunities, I wanted to do like zoology, be a rally race car driver.
I used to want to work in an ice cream van.
A cake decorator. I wanted to be all sorts of things, and then I didn't realise nursing was an option until someone mentioned that her auntie did nursing. And like with me, when there's a baby there, I'm there like that's my child now. So I love looking after babies and children. But I was also so interested in the science behind like the human body, and sort of I liked maths and I liked chemistry, and I thought it was a perfect combination of using my skills and doing what I love, which is looking after children.
That's amazing. I think for me it was, I didn't know, I knew I wanted to be something within the caring sector, but I didn't know what. So I felt like with my personality I had to figure it out. So when in nursing we have something called the nursing characteristics, and it's like care, commitment, compassion, all of these things, and I felt like, oh, these little 6 C's fit into my character. Like I care a lot for people, where if they're ill or to get them better or stuff, or I'm really committed in any task I try and take. Like having these little characteristics made me realise, oh, hang on, I think I might fit into this role, which helped me realise at a young age, if I knew this, I would have been like, oh, maybe I want to be a nurse from the get-go, and I would have progressed and worked towards it. But because I was so unsure of what I wanted to do and what I wanted to be, and then realising like there's like a body frame that helps you into things, like I was like, wow, like that's me, this sounds like me. So I was like, yeah, that really helped, like know and help me understand like, okay, this is what I want to do.
I feel like I chose nursing because it gives you like a career, like a good career, because coming from like a low class area and everything, you don't have opportunities like you would in a higher class area. So I feel like doing nursing or becoming a doctor or whatever you do, like you have better opportunities, and going to university and choosing this degree, it has helped.
And that elevates your status.
Yeah, and makes your parents proud and makes your society proud, and it's like you're making your own society better in a way. And I feel like in my area, people know that I'm doing nursing, they're like, well done, you're doing amazing, and it's encouraging other younger people to do it. And I have like my little cousins are like, should I do nursing? It's amazing. I'm like, yeah, do it, it's amazing.
No, I think that's a very beautiful thing actually, and to have that representation, that diversity throughout all these really esteemed type of careers, it definitely helps, and as you said, inspire a lot of young people to kind of push forward towards those type of careers. So it's really a very beautiful thing, I think. Now, something else that I think people watching would want to know is any advice or anything that you have to say towards our viewers who, we may have some young people out there who might be considering working in the healthcare sector, or might be a bit afraid of taking that final push and taking that step forward.
My piece of advice would be never give up, because even though I didn't pass my A-levels and I did an access course, I didn't go straight into university. It took me 5 years to actually get into the degree I wanted to do. So competence and commitment is key, I would say. And just never give up.
Brilliant. We had what did you say the nurses 6 C's?
6 C's, so that's care. I'll say 2, you guys can say 2 each. Let's see if you guys know them. Just testing them out. But care, commitment,
competency,
compassion and
courage.
And communication.
Yeah. And what were the 2 characteristics you said that you need to have? Yes.
No, I think I said commitment and competence.
See, so we have the nurses 6 C's, and then we have Ifsana's.
No, she said what I said before.
And then we have Ifsana's 2 C's, your key to success, we can label those as. So that's brilliant, thank you for sharing that. And on to our qualified nurse. What do you have to say?
So I think with nursing, there's always that challenge of firstly looking after yourself, because it's a demanding career. We're doing like 12 hours a shift, so 3 times a week. So you have to look after yourself first. I think that's the most important thing. With doing a degree, it's sort of having that sort of forward success and drive, but not letting that keep you back.
One thing I feel like to encourage you is don't let anyone bring you down. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't do it when you can, because when you're out in placement, there are so many people that will tell you that you're not good enough, or why are you even doing it, because you don't seem like you can do it when you can. There's so many people out there that will help you. There's support in the hospital, at university. You can always do it, and always find that topic or area of nursing that you love. If you're going to do nursing, find somewhere you love working and you genuinely are interested in it.
We've touched upon a few struggles that you've all faced, but what about any barriers? Is there anything regarding any sort of barriers that you've had to face that you'd like to share?
At the moment in nursing, I'm on a secondment being an inclusion facilitator, and that basically within my organisation it's helping out with different initiatives, trying to be an anti-discrimination and anti-racist organisation. We see a lot throughout sort of working with different communities and how different people can be treated, and also progression in nursing can be difficult, sort of within sort of the workforce race standards and things like that. With data, as you go up the ladder, it's less representative of a diverse community. So being from a marginalised community and from a minoritized ethnic background.
Can I just interject? It's really interesting how you just phrased that. Typically I'd think people would say ethnic minority, but I think you've switched the wording around a little.
I did that on purpose. So the term BAME, so Black and Asian Minority Ethnic, I personally don't like, and a lot of people don't like that term, because it groups a whole array of different communities just in one term, and everyone's different. Like you can have African individuals and people from the Caribbean, and they'll be grouped together, whereas they're completely different parts of the world. And same with like Asian, you got South Asian and you got sort of
East Asian.
Yeah. So I use the term minoritized ethnic background because the term ethnic minority is a negative connotation, whereas with the term minoritized, it's giving people that understanding that this community has been minoritized. We're not a minority, I say we're a majority.
I like that.
Yeah.
I really like that.
So I'll say we're a global majority. But sort of within nursing, sometimes that career progression isn't easier for a person with sort of an underprivileged background.
Can I ask, how were you given the opportunity to basically advocate for this?
There was so much discussions about race and equality and inclusion, and I think it's one of my passions from before nursing, and I felt like this was an opportunity that I wanted to go forwards in, because as nurses we look after a diverse array of people, and so it's sort of looking at are you able to look after different parts of the communities efficiently, but are you also able to progress, because sort of in different organisations, the higher up you go, the less representative it is of people from a diverse background. I think that's what I want to sort of help and challenge.
Well, yeah, thank you very much for sharing that. I think, again, I mentioned when I was introducing our guest panelists, today we have 3 very incredibly inspiring young women with us here. And I think that just goes to show exactly what I meant. And, to have someone who's taking that step and, pushing forward to try and promote this type of equality and diversity, it is really important. I know these are the type of phrases, you hear it all the time, but that's because the importance never dwindles. It's always has been and will forever be a very important thing for us all to work together to try and promote. And I think that's what it's all about, really. When it comes to the barriers that we face, I haven't asked Nasimara or Ifsana yet, so I'm going to get to you both in a second, but it's definitely very important for us all to remember that when it comes to trying to tackle any sort of barriers that we do face, that the best way to approach a problem is to devise a solution together, because the more minds you have towards something, the better outcomes you'll be able to try and achieve. Now, if either of you would like to share anything that you have, if there is anything at all that you have faced in terms of any barriers?
I feel like the only barrier I'm facing currently is just finding a lot of information on how like my course will go. Like I didn't know, for example, like 12-hour shifts and like nurses get burnt out. I thought it would be every day you work 12 hours. That's it, like what? So I was like routine, I don't know how it works, like when nurses eat. So I think like changing up my routine as well, especially as a mom, that was another barrier I was facing. Like she's only 2, so I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to leave my child at home. But you do get a lot of support. For example, like you get funding to put them into childcare education, or like some people choose not to, so you could maybe family support. I felt like for me, going into this, my parents work, so I couldn't just dump my child on my mom and be like, look after her, I'm going to study. Or like my husband works, I couldn't be like, that's it, she's yours, I'm going. So I felt like within my own mind I had to like question, is this the right choice? Do I want to be a full-time mom, or do I want to be a working mom? I think that was a barrier for me. Yeah,
I think there are undoubtedly going to be a lot of young mums out there who might be, you know, suffering the same type of, or not really suffering, but going through the same type of challenges and struggles emotionally, and it must take a lot out of you. So to throw another question on you, is there any sort of sentiment or anything you'd like to say to any other young mums out there who might really want to, you know, get back into education or continue working, but have a bit of that mental reluctance to, because they think either it's not the right thing to do, or maybe it's they should just continue being a full-time mum, which is a very difficult job in itself.
But it's an amazing job. Like I think being a full-time mom is like one of the hardest jobs ever, and like most amazing and rewarding, of course. But take the first step, take it slow, don't just go all the way in, just take it day by day, and it gets easier.
Never give up.
Yeah, it gets easier.
Certainly does. We're nearing the time to wrap up now, but just before we do, is there anything positive about your life or your choices that you'd like to highlight?
So I think for me it's being recognised. So I recently got a Commitment to Diversity award because of the work that I've been doing, but being recognised for that hard work was really positive. And then with nursing, it's sort of when you have those moments where you're able to give that parent a cuddle with their child for the first time, or when you see them get discharged from the hospital, it's like the most satisfying thing. When you see them sort of on the other side, it's like you did well, you did a good job. But yeah, and I also want to mention my nieces as well, because they're just my nieces and my nephew, because they're just my joy. Like, yeah. But
I think that's my they're going to, when they listen, they always listen to the shows. I had a different talk show that we did not that long ago during COVID-19. It was called Teen Talks, and my little siblings, they always watch those, so I'm going to just throw it in now because they'll definitely be watching this one. I think my younger siblings, older ones too, but my younger siblings, that'd be just as you said with your nieces and nephew, it would be my younger siblings that are my little pride and joy. But sorry, I took over that question. It wasn't for me, it's for all of you. So Nasimara?
I would say, just from my choices and doing this course and doing everything I have, I've met the most amazing people in my life, and at work and at university I've met like people, like friends for life, like people I can call my sisters, and I'm glad I've taken the choices I have, and I found what I love in nursing, and hopefully I take it up as a career and hopefully work in the sector I want to work in.
So for me it would be the sisterhood, even though there are male nurses out there, but just the whole unit, like family unit you grow, and the bonds and like relationships you grow with one another, and knowing that you have support. Like if maybe I'm feeling a bit burnt out today, I could go to another nurse and, you know, I could get the support and uplift I need. That's really positive outcome for me, knowing that you've always got someone to talk to.
It's really nice to reflect on all the positivity that you can have throughout amidst all the struggles and the negativity, there's the equal balance of positivity. Thank you for tuning into the first episode of VoiceIt. The show will be aired once at the end of every month, and if there are any of you out there who have any stories you'd like to share, we will leave all the social media links in the description box below, and we would be more than interested to hear about everything you have to say. Until then, see you next time.